Right, so I'm going to mix my resin up like this. I wouldn't normally do like this. I normally have a paper, newspaper and whatnot everywhere, and I certainly wouldn't have it on this. But it just makes it easier to show you guys everything. Let's turn probably that way around. I'm not actually, so I'll probably cock it up. Okay, so scales are on. Sorry, pop your little cup on there. Where's that bent for me? Tear. Okay. Just, I don't know about my particular scales. They do turn off quite quickly if you don't do anything with them, which is a bit of a pain. So I'll just get into the habit now of pressing tear before I do anything. Tear, you know, because the last thing you want to do is lose it after when you're halfway pouring and you go to stop or something and it goes off. You've sort of lost. You can't really recalculate. You can't tear it or recalculate it. So it's worthwhile giving that some thought. Don't know how much zoom to this. Anyway, we can have a couple of goes at this. Right, so we're going to start with 15. Okay, so this. Oh my lord. Okay, so that's another thing I should have said about this. When you finish using the, especially left it for a couple of days, when you finish using the, I'm going to call this the resin bit, which is the part A bit, yeah. Always clean your thread, and the other thing is, just be careful when you take it because it sort of jams up, particularly on this one, yeah, and you get all these like little crystals of resin. They've cured, and obviously you don't want that to fall into your mix. So this is brilliant actually. Not so happy with this. So I'm just make sure everything, all the loose stuff is off as I undo it. Nothing's going to fall into the resin. So first job, let's give it a good mix with the right mixing stick. So at the moment there's no time, constraint here. We can take our time, make sure we thoroughly mix it. Okay, so that's one nicely mixed. Wipe that off. And you don't want to leave the tops of this open either, yeah, so you need to close it up as soon as you've finished. So like I say, at the moment we've got no time, you don't have to worry about time. Pop that on and zero it, and then what do you need? 15. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, let me zoom in a bit. Oh, I'm going to leave it like that because otherwise I'm going to start stressing. Okay, so we're looking for 15 grams. Okay, I'm pretty close. I'm just going to grab my mixing stick again and just dribble some in there just to get it up to where we need it. When I'm doing the small parts, this is how I actually pour it, like this, just off the stick. Okay, so we're 15.03, it's just 02, so you need 7.51 to get it absolutely spot on. Wipe the stick, put your lid back on, because again, you're in no rush, yeah? Okay. Actually, what we need to do is, what I should have done is actually cleaned up the threads on this. Again, like I said, I'm in no rush at the moment, yeah? So I can wipe out the lid. And it doesn't matter if the scales turn off now because we know what we need. we get the threads. I think, you know, typically this stuff gets used once, you know, they mix it all up in one big batch and pour it. But for the, you know, because I'm casting things that are so small, yeah, we, you know, threading, unthreading, you know, putting caps up, dribbling it everywhere. So just be careful not to drop any of the crud into the resin. Oh, that sounds better. The hardener you don't have to worry about, you don't have that same problem with the hardener. So we're looking for 7.51 grams of hardener. So I even go to the point of actually moving this out the way now. So just so I don't accidentally pick up that again and pour it. So we get the hardener and we want 7.51 grams. So again, no rush, so I can turn my scales on. Okay, still in no rush. I'm going to tear it just for good luck. Got my bee sticks, I'm going to mix it up first. So give it a nice good mix. Like I say, we're in no rush still, so you know, take your time with this. And actually stirring it rather than shaking it just makes a huge difference. It just seems so much, just works so much better. Hence why they probably say on the instructions, stir. Never mind. Okay, so I'm nicely stirred. I'm just going to tear this. Just I'm not going to run out of time. So 7.51. I'm just going to do this off the stick this time. Okay, there's no crazy hurry to get this in there because it's not going to sort of react until we start stirring it. Okay, and that. Don't daydream while you're doing this because you'll definitely go over 7. So we can put 7.5. So we're up to 6. Okay, just got to be careful now. 7.5. You see, I'm not rushing this, you know, because it's not going to start foaming until I mix it. 7 point. Come on. Not much more now. There we go. What do you now got right on the nose? That's a first. Probably because I'm really concentrating because I'm on camera. Oh God, I hope I don't cock it up now. Right, so clean off our stick. Don't have to worry about the whatchamacallit on this because it doesn't crud up like the resin does. I think it's atmosphere that, you know, and the moisture in the atmosphere that helps cure it. So as you can see, like, it hasn't actually started foaming up. I'm going to zoom out now actually, so you can see everything. It hasn't really started foaming up. Yeah, it's still quite, you know, it's quite happy like that. So as soon as we get mixing, this is when we need to just be on the ball. Okay, so, right, so I'm going to start mixing. Hope you can see that. Right, here we go. Mix with purpose, make sure you're getting all the corners. See, it's going like a yellow colour. If you see sort of streaks of clear in it, then it's not mixed. Yeah, you need to spilling it over the top of that thing. Not very clever. So I'm talking rather than paying attention. Okay, so we're pretty fast now. And also you'll actually sometimes feel it warm up if you take too long. It'll actually start to warm. So scrape on. Okay. Don't know whether that's been 40 seconds or not, but it feels and looks right. Okay. I just like to give it a tap as well, just try and get the bubbles to the top. One thing you find is the, I'm not going to talk actually because I need to pour this quickly now. So we're going to start up here, we're going to go down there, we're going to go around leading edge, down the trailing edge, around the server, and then up here on the saddle. Okay, now you just move it around, make sure it all, get the rest of the stuff out. Okay, it's not wasting it. Okay, so, see it's still running at the moment, so I'm not going to talk for a bit because I need to concentrate on this. Actually it's firming up quite quickly this. Probably could have stirred it for a little bit less. So I'm trying to get like a decent coverage over as much of it as possible. Now the instructions actually said that this should sort of expand about 8 times. 8 times its sort of mixed volume. So what I'm doing is just putting it in areas where it looks a little bit low. And to me, that looks pretty decent. You get to a point where you can't actually, you need to stop, yeah, because you've missed the window, as it were, yeah. So at the moment we're almost there. I'll show you in the cup in a second at the point that you need to stop messing with it. I think ideally the less messing you can do with it, the better, yeah. Okay. Okay, so it's just done. So we're going to pop the top on. Just thought there, is the camera on? The camera's on, I'm recording. So we can put our top on now. Okay, so start squeezing out the seams. I'm not going too crazy at the moment yet, to squish it all down, because I actually want it to sort of vent. A bit, so it allows the, so you know, you're not going to create big air traps. It's just my way of thinking. I don't know whether there's much truth in that, but it just feels, the first moulds I did actually put little holes in it so that it could actually vent, but because the parting planes are quite gappy, or quite loose I suppose, all I do is just let it relax a little bit for a while, and then I'll clamp it up, like now. I'll clamp it now. Now's a good time. Just feels right. Okay, clamps. It's common sense where you actually put the clamps. You know, you want to try and spread it out as much as you can. I'll just put one on there. And I find also balance it as well. Just, you know, don't just wang up the clamp there. Just stick it on loosely, and then go to the other side, and do the same. So stick it on there. Put this on here. So these clamps are quite loose, you know. They're not tight yet. I'll stick it on its side and I'll show you how I judge whether it's tight enough. Okay, so we'll start with oops, up here. Okay, so I'm just going to tighten it up. You'll see it squeeze out the foam. So we're looking for just to squeeze out the foam and close the gap. Let's try over here. You know, it's a good indicator whether it's your part's going to come out, is if you get this. Sorry, I'm just listening to, as I'm turning it, I can actually hear the mould giving a little bit, creaking a little bit, so you just need to listen as well. I'll tell you when it's tight enough. So now a good indicator of whether your part's going to cast is if you see the foam come out the sides, you know, the flashing, means that it's actually foaming up evenly all around the part. Actually, I'm going to put some more clamps on this. For no particular reason, just because I've got some clamps handy. It's not going to do it any harm. Normally I only use 4 clamps because I've been casting the tops and the bottoms at the same time, or one after the other. Now I've only got 8 big clamps, so but being as I need to do being as someone broke a mould earlier, I need to do a repair, I might as well use the other clamps. And as I say again, you know, I'm in no rush now, that all the hard work's done now, so I'm just listening and tightening. Yeah, I really ain't wanging this up, yeah. This looks good. Okay, so I'm going to just go around and make sure everything's evenly clamped. And that's it. Like I say, you don't want to put too much pressure on there because you'll just wreck your mould because they're only thin plastic. I've got some ideas I can beef up the strength of the moulds, but with these they're just plastic. All the foam that's popped out the side, no problem, just leave it. It'll break off really easy later on. The reason why I was moving that foam earlier on is it'll just keeps everything clean. If I'd left it on there, then it would be huge. Now, you know, it'd be probably dripping on the table and everything. I'm just going to move that aside so I can talk about the foam 8 before it goes off too much. That's left inside the cup. Okay, so I mean, you saw me scraping off the foam 8. Now, a good indicator is when you need to stop is if you touch it, yeah, and it sort of deflates. You can see it. Oh, hopefully you can see that deflating. You know, you've missed it. You got to leave it alone now. So if you touch that and you see it sort of all the air sort of deflates out of it, yeah, it's time to leave it alone. Yeah, because all you're doing is knocking the air out of it. And this stuff is like, it's really sticky now. You know, when I was saying sticky, it gets really sticky. So, you know, the quicker you can mix it up and get in your mould and get it spread and close your mould, the better at the end of the day. You have got some time in the mould to work it round and whatnot, but as soon as if you leave it too, I reckon, I don't know, probably about what they say with the pot life, probably about 3 minutes really after pouring it. Yeah. No, I haven't really timed it, so I wouldn't know. But as soon as you suspect that it's starting to do this, where you touch it and all the air comes out, yeah, you're not going to fix that. That's done now. You can't do anything with that. Yeah, so you need to mess with it as little as possible. Close it up and just leave it now. So the manufacturers say you can sort of handle it in about 2 hours, in 20 minutes, yeah. I've been leaving it for about an hour and a half before I even think about taking out the mould. 2 hours and it's definitely fully cured, and it's not going to get a lot harder. But yeah, don't mess with it. As much as tempting as it is, just leave it now. Don't try and fiddle with it. Just leave it now. It's done. Can't do anything else now. Just leave it. It's just a waiting game. Yeah, and that's why it's always good to have something else to do while you're waiting, because it takes temptation out of the way. Yeah. So basically that's it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that for. I'll leave it for 2 hours, an hour and a half. A lot of the time, what I'll do is I'll actually write on here what time I can take it off or what time I've cast it. I think you should see some tape on there. It just stops me from wrecking it by being too excited and taking it apart too soon. So we're just going to leave it now, and hopefully we'll have something that we can work with when we take it apart. Right then, so while that's waiting, I'm going to do a quick video on repairing that mould, that cavity that I forced earlier on and cocked up. So here we have the our problem. Okay, you can see where it's cracked, where I was trying to force it through there. So then super glue, and then welding will be the order of the day with that. So I'll do a little video on repairing that, and then we'll cast. We'll do the casting. Right, and see you in a bit.